Alright guys, so today I got a pretty interesting video for you guys. I did an interview with the CEO of Curaizon, who is Nicholas Rumble, and I asked him some questions that pertain to the coin. Alright, so this is an ICO coin, pretty interesting. It has a utilitarian purpose in the medical community, and I think it's something that a lot of patients could utilize, and it could benefit not only the medical sector financially, but also benefit patient lives, which is ultimately the goal of any product that ever releases to the market. So, with that being said, we're going to get right into the interview. Hope you guys enjoy this video. This is the short version. We have the extended, longer version down in the description. So for anyone that wants to check that out after this, go ahead and open up that description and make sure you guys click that link. So anyways, let's get right into the video. What made you create the concept or the idea for Curaizon?
Well, Curaizon is more than an idea, first of all. It's been in development for almost 6 years. But I suppose after being introduced to the problem by a friend, and that was somebody that explained to me the size and scale of the problem, and also being personally affected by this, I thought, as my sort of engineer's brain does, that there has to be a better way. And there is. I mean, we now have that better way. So the idea was really conceived out of necessity, as I guess all great things are.
I'm sure some of the people watching this video are interested or curious about the history behind Curaizon, so if you could, give us a brief history of Curaizon for the common man.
Well, like I said, the concept and idea were born out of a desire to make a difference. I don't mind admitting that I'm a capitalist, but I think that to do something good and to do something that benefits society is a really important, and it's a privilege to be able to do something which is such as what we're doing. So we're trying to make a difference for the millions of patients that are affected by non-adherence. Like I said, I was astonished to find that the problem was actually even bigger than I'd originally been led to believe. So I really set about researching the industry, talking to experts, and trying to really understand what had been done so far to address this. And the sad reality was that while it was really well documented and it had been very heavily researched, the whole issue of non-adherence, nothing meaningful had really been done to fix it. So we had to find a way to deliver the behavioral change in patients in a non-intrusive and scalable way, which is really what Curaizon does through our CuraServe technology.
So this is a bit of a generic question, but I think it pertains well to the coin. What would you say your favorite part about Curaizon is?
Well, this is probably not the answer that you're looking for, and I'm happy to elaborate. But if I'm honest, my favorite part of Curaizon is the team. I've got an incredible group of people around me who are super clever, amazing people to work with. They're as committed to this wonderful project as I am. We're all business-minded. But you can definitely see that we all go the extra mile because of the benefits that we're bringing to society as a whole. It's something that's kind of heartwarming in a way. The way it makes you feel, I guess, when you're able to add some functionality that can actually save a life, or another piece of functionality that will deliver even clearer or better data, better quality data, and help people across the care spectrum and all of the stakeholders within it. So I couldn't have done it without them. But my guess is which part of the business or the process of the technology is my favorite part was what you were probably aiming at. And I think that I pioneered the USSD technology many years ago within the banking sector for high security notifications for trading platforms. And while that's not my proprietary technology, because it's an existing piece of, it's an existing protocol that sits within the GSM networks, the exploitation of that and then being able to overlay that to this problem, and it being a perfect fit in terms of a delivery methodology, giving us the read response rates that we get. I mean, our read response rates are more than 98% and about 90% within a minute. So it couldn't be a better delivery method or delivery channel for communicating with patients, and the advantages are very high security. So if a patient's phone was lost or stolen, none of their data would be lost or stolen with it, because once the message is responded to, it deletes itself from the phone. It's as if it never existed. It doesn't exist on any kernel of memory within the phone. So there's no risk of patient data ever being lost or stolen. And it then also doesn't cost the patient anything to respond. So, taking away as many barriers as we can for the patient to engage with the technology and deliver the support and help that they need. This was really just a win-win for us. It was a really perfect fit in terms of giving us the exposure, the delivery, and the technical security aspects that we needed.
What are some of the core values behind Curaizon?
Not wanting to sound cliched, and I don't think it is, but some people find this stuff a bit of a cliche. But our values are honesty, integrity, transparency, and taking ownership and responsibility for your actions, and always thinking as a team, never an individual. Simple and straightforward.
Now, I'm sure a lot of people that click this video want to know more about the coin. And most people that click this are probably interested in investing, potentially buying a share of what you created. So from an investor standpoint, what would be the most interesting thing about Curaizon?
For me, I think it's an opportunity, for an investor to get involved in something that truly benefits society. It's solving a real world problem, and it just so happens to return very significant financial returns. It does that in spades. I think people get caught up sometimes in the idea that a business that gives something back or is in some way helpful in society, it struggles always to be a commercial success. I think in reality that the technology and the benefits that technology delivers cannot survive without the commercial success. So if this doesn't make money, we can't continue to deliver it. So we're delivering significant cost benefits to the health services. So this is a no-brainer for them, which is great because the adoption becomes much, much easier. It's a win-win in that situation. But no, I think for investors, and certainly we're seeing this more and more recently compared to the financial markets 20 or 30 years ago. People are much more sensitive to the investments. People are very careful about where they invest. They're not just looking for returns. They're looking for something that is sustainable, that's environmentally and ecologically friendly, that's delivering a service that is helpful to people or society. Something that helps you sleep at night, and that's something that this company certainly does for me and our team. And I would like to think that was the same, and the same was true for investors too.
And then how do the tokens work for this ICO?
That's really simple. The only way to access our data is via our token. So our data is priced in fiat. It's priced in US dollars. And data consumers, so that would be pharmaceutical companies, academics, researchers, and the like, they need to purchase our tokens, and they then redeem those for access to our data. And there's a number of different access models that we allow. And we allow, we allow access to certain groups at a lower rate. So universities and academics or academia get a lower access cost than say a pharmaceutical company would do. So we're also trying to help research and help education and help academia, and then burden the sort of big corporations, the drug companies, with the majority of the costs involved in generating and mining and creating the analytics from our data.
What are your partnerships for Curaizon?
So, yeah, you're referring, I guess, to our commercial partnerships. We've always worked on the model of commercial partnerships, so even down to our development suppliers. For example, rather than having a huge development team in-house, we work with Gateway Technolabs, who are one of the best software development companies I've ever come across. This means that we can access far greater resources in times of not need, but in times of high development, and reduce those costs in quieter times, let's say. And I mean, just to carry on with that, Gateway Technolabs have 2,500 developers, and right now we've got a team of around 60 people working on our project. We as a company at this stage could never afford to employ 60 high-quality developers. But right now we want to get things done swiftly. So we turn the wick up and get the resources that we need. And then in 3 or 4 months' time, when version 1's being delivered, we can turn that down to a smaller number of developers that are dealing with iterative development, next-gen project planning, and fixing the small bugs that invariably sit in first-level technology releases.
So this is a bit of a difficult question because it's hard to pinpoint right now, especially where this ICO is, what the competition would be. But in terms of competition, what competition do you think Curaizon will face in the healthcare industry?
So So my answer would be currently we have no competitors, as all other attempts at addressing drug non-adherence have either been unscalable or unintegrated, which amounts to nothing more than, like we said, setting an alarm on your phone. We differ because we are integrated and we have this two-way communication with the patient, so we're actually able to collect this incredibly valuable data and escalate the non-adherence before it becomes serious. What we see happening in the next 15 to 20 years, and this may become 10 to 15 years, depending on the rate and scale of development, is perhaps smart pills. So the idea that you can take a pill that has a chip on it, which can read the chemical structure of the contents of your stomach and then send that data back to your phone, and then based upon knowing certain variables, it will identify whether you actually have taken that pill or not. And that way it will give you a 100% accurate view into adherence. We're already, north of 90%. Some data is always better than no data, but we've actually gone a step in the right direction where we've got what is considered statistically relevant, but also statistically accurate data as well. So we're talking 10, 15 years down the road, maybe longer, we may have smart pills, but we're already working with 2 universities in the UK that have begun development in this area, and will be funding research as a part of our ongoing business operation.
With crypto being in a bear market, how do you plan on making Curaizon a success?
It's a question I'm asked often, and I get a little bewildered by the question in the first instance because, and maybe this is not obvious, so we're not in any way linked to the crypto market per se, other than by association. Our tokens are backed by the utility and the value of our data. So the more the data grows and the cleverer things we do with that data, the greater the value we can deliver. So we don't see ourselves as being in any way correlated to the mainstream crypto environment, which is why if investors right now are looking for alpha, which is to say pure returns, then they should be investing in projects that have substance and can deliver revenue, not something that claims, I don't know, by virtue of having some link to the blockchain, it'll return value at some point in the future. So we don't see ourselves as being correlated in any way.
So where do you see Curaizon in the next 12 months?
So it's going to be busy the next 12 months. We'll have all of our primary offices up and running. So London already exists, and Copenhagen and Denmark will follow soon. Dubai is also due by the end of the year. We'll have satellite offices likely in Australia and possibly elsewhere in Asia. We will have completed the development of our technology, so version 1.0 will be out there, and we would have completed our clinical trials. And we'll have live patients actually using our technologies. We'll be generating data, and it'll grow substantially because we're typically getting something like 4 data points per patient per day. So this builds out and becomes very meaningful very, very quickly. But within that year, we'd also expect to be in advanced talks with a number of our key data consumers within the pharmaceutical industry. And I might try and get some sleep in there at some point too.
What would you say some catalysts would be that would affect this ICO moving forward?
So if I understand the question, I think we've done all we can to deliver a viable business project. So really the only catalyst that we're looking for now is to finalize the deals with our investors so that we can take this to the next level. As with all businesses, capital is key to drive this forward. A lot has been invested privately by myself to get us where we are today. we now need to raise additional capital so that we can ramp things up and roll things out, as I say, and start to penetrate our key target markets.
And then ultimately, anyone that follows this project is obviously going to want it to be a success. I mean, it has several benefits not just to investors, but to the healthcare industry as well. Anything that benefits patient lives is something that we want in this industry. So, what does success ultimately look like for Curaizon?
I think a world where non-adherence is reduced to the point where people being treated for long-term and chronic illnesses are able to manage their disease and so able to live healthy, happy, long lives with their families. And where I guess our data is enabling the next generation of drug discovery and treatments. And I suppose some shareholder value in there somewhere wouldn't go amiss.
All right, guys, so there you have it. That is the interview I had with the CEO of Curaizon. And like I said, guys, this is an interesting project that actually has a utilitarian purpose. It's not just put on the blockchain to be put on the blockchain. They're not toting around that it's, big data and hyping it up in that way. This project can actually save lives. It can be utilized. It's something that can be, integrated into a patient's life, which is something that ultimately is going to be better for the patient, as well as something that can, give investors a kickback. So anyways, we have the extended version of this interview linked in the description. If you guys are interested and want to check it out, click the link. Other than that, guys, that is all I got for this interview today. So hope you guys have a great day, and don't forget to check out that link.